Waynesboro City Council, November 24, 2025, to order. I'll lead us in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 2 is the adoption of the meeting agendas. Do I have a motion to adopt the meeting agenda?
I'll move that we adopt the meeting agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Stowe. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 3-0. Item 3, matters from the mayor. For me, 14 November was a good day for me, a busy day. I did a tour of the new fire station and also the 911 911 call center. So thanks to Chief Holloway and to Mr. Critcher for letting me view those facilities. Also, on that day, I did visit the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. So I want to thank Ms. Carrie Diner, for the CEO, for that tour by her and her staff. They do a lot of great things for our community here in Waynesboro, and they're looking to do more. So it was good to hear. Then on a personal note, Saturday, 15 November, my wife and family were able to cheer on my oldest son, who's my junior, and he completed the Richmond Marathon. So he did his 26.2 miles, so we were real proud of him. Yeah. So, and then finally, we want to continue to keep Mr. Short in our thoughts and prayers as he is with his mom. Item 5, matters from council. Item 4, I'm sorry, is matters from council.
I'd like to pass along my excitement that the crosswalks are active by the high school. It's been a long journey to get there, and let's keep our fingers crossed that nobody sideswipes one and puts us out for another 2 years. So I'm excited about that.
You too.
Last Wednesday, Councilman Sloat and myself went to the comp plan meeting at the high school. Had a good turnout, a lot of good feedback. Alessandra and Leslie and the planning board did a great job putting that together. And it's nice to get the feedback from the community on the direction of the city. So it was a good meeting last Wednesday. So thanks to all y'all for all your work that y'all did from the planning board, planning commission.
All right. Item 5 is consideration of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Stowe. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0. Item 6 is to hold a public hearing and consider introducing an ordinance granting the LifeWorks Project, a nonprofit organization, exemption from personal and real property taxes. Mr. Ham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council is obligated under the local code to consider the LifeWorks project application and has the authority, or the council has the authority to grant the exemption for local tax. That'd be the real property located at 505 North Winchester. That's the location of the Bread Basket Food Pantry, and personal property for the operation of the food pantry at the same location, including a delivery van. Historically, the General Assembly had authority to grant specific property tax exemptions to certain nonprofit organizations. In 2003, an amendment to the Constitution of Virginia transferred that authority to localities to granting new exemptions. The rationale for granting an exemption is that nonprofits provide services for the public good that might otherwise be the responsibility of government or might otherwise not be undertaken at all. Nonprofits such as hospitals, universities offer essential services that benefit the wider community and fulfill the needs that governments alone might struggle to address. I note also that even though the LifeWorks project is a designated 501c3 does not mean automatically that they're exempt from local tax, and hence this process in order for the council to consider. I think the council comes to this authority by the General Assembly wanting to grant that discretion as to whether or not the exemption is provided at the local level. So with that, the council is asked, we'll conduct a public hearing, and you're asked to introduce the ordinance this evening. It would receive final consideration on December 8th.
Any questions from the city? I hereby open the public hearing.
Mr. A.J. Young, Jr.
So, Mr. Young, I know you know the,
Absolutely.
okay.
Good evening, council. I'm going to be very, very brief and share with you the impact that the LifeWorks project has done in this community. Most everyone in this building knows about the River City Bread Baskets Client Choice Pantry that is providing literally meals to hundreds of folks every week. And so this exemption of real estate and personal property tax will ensure that we as an organization are able to commit more of our funds that are given through grants and donations and various other folks and entities to allow us to do more of the work that the community is more and more growing dependent upon. And so we solicit your approval of this exemption so that we can continue to do the work that we feel very passionate about in this community. We are very committed to the SAW area, and we certainly would ask that you would deeply consider this moving forward so that we can continue to do what we do at a high level and do much more, I might add, in this community. And so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Ms. Sharon Van Name.
Sharon Van Name, 2116 Bellevue. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm coming at this as a volunteer at the Bread Basket. I'm there most every Friday afternoon, and I have to tell you that it warms my heart being there, working with the folks and seeing what a difference it makes in their life. Tells me how vitally important this work is and how much it's needed that you help it along and make it grow by granting these tax exemptions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Van Dam.
Mr. Larry Stopper.
Gentlemen, I'm Larry Stopper, Chair of the LifeWorks Project Board of Directors. I want to thank all of you for your support of the LifeWorks project as we have gone forward, and I simply want to emphasize to you that we are entirely supported through grants and donations. We do not have a source of income on any sort of regular basis. So to qualify us for a tax exemption, as Mr. Young said, just allows us to use the resources that we continue to solicit from the community, from you all, from every source that we can find to do the work that we do. So I thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, sir.
That's it for this one.
I hereby close the public hearing. Is there a motion to introduce the ordinance granting the requested tax exemption?
This is an easy one.
Yeah.
I would like to propose this motion for this tax exemption.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Slow. Any discussion? The ordinance will receive final consideration at the December 8th regular business meeting. Item 7 is to receive presentation and hold a public hearing on the city's Community Development Block Grant Comprehensive Annual Performance Evaluation Report. Ms. Alisan Tomburge, our city planner.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor Lee, council members. I am here tonight to provide just a brief overview of the city's CDBG program for the FY 2024 end-of-year report. So firstly, Waynesboro receives Community Development Block Grant CDBG funds each year from HUD. The amount received is determined by a formula, and that amount, and the amount that's made available in that year's federal budget. The funds must be used primarily to benefit low and moderate income persons or persons that are or at risk of experiencing homelessness. The Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, known as the CAPER, is the CDBG's program's end-of-year report, and that reports on activities that were undertaken during the program year, which ran from October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025, as outlined in that year's annual action plan. The CAPER also notes the accomplishments that were made during the program year and the progress made in meeting the estimated accomplishments in the 5-year consolidated plan. I'll also note that the city does encourage resident input on the development of each year's annual action plan and then also on the CAPER. So the city's FY24 annual action plan outlined 5 activities that the 2024 CDBG funds would be allocated to. First, $92,223 to assist with the land acquisition costs for affordable housing development, $50,000 to renewing homes to provide critical home repair, $10,000 and $5,000 respectively to LifeWorks and Hero for emergency rent and utility payments to prevent eviction or utility shutoff, and then $10,098 to WARM to provide case management services to the residents of Ruth House. And as far as the FY24 accomplishments go, this program year did see the city wrapping up a multi-year activity at the Rosenwald Community Center with the installation of new ADA accessible pedestrian crossings across Port Republic Road and an ADA accessible sidewalk and ramp to the entrance of the Rosenwald Community Center building and then also to the playground. This project has now been completed and all the funds drawn down. However, most of the funds that were drawn down will actually be reflected on next year's CAPER rather than this year's due to the final drawdown occurring after the start of the FY25 program year. For the second activity, land acquisition costs, staff have been working with Enterprise Community Development on the land acquisition activity. The funds will be used to assist Enterprise with acquiring the property at 1030 Alston Court to be used for their 96-unit multifamily development. This project has been delayed because of the rescission of a HUD grant, which meant that Enterprise had to work to secure other forms of funding, which pushed back that land acquisition date. So as you can see, that no money has been drawn down for that. We're expecting that this activity will be completed in the first half of 2026, based on the communications we've had with Enterprise. Renewing Homes has completed work on 3 houses over the course of the program year. They replaced roofs in all 3 of the houses and also upgraded the HVAC system on one of the homes and installed a radon mitigation system in another. LifeWorks used all but $8 of their funding to provide 6 families with rent or utility assistance. WARM provided case management services for 35 families, and then Hero provided 15 individuals with rent or utility assistance. In sum, all these activities accounted for about 1,245 persons and 59 households that were assisted over the course of the FY24 program year. As far as next steps, the CAPER is now on public display until December 18th at several locations throughout the city, which are all listed on the slide, and then also on the city's website at the URL. Comments will be accepted until 4 p.m. on December 8th, and they can also be submitted by email or mail, or dropped off in person at the community development offices. Any comments received by the deadline will be included in the CAPER submittal to HUD, which will happen on or before December 12th. And then with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
I hereby open the public hearing.
No one has signed up to speak.
I hereby close the public hearing. No action is required. Are there any additional questions? Item 8 is to receive a presentation of the Central Shenandoah Office on Youth Annual Report by Ms. Jenny Newman, Director. Ms. Newman.
council members. What I'd like to do for this annual report is not just present numbers, so you will see the numbers on the screen that we served last year, but it's going to be more about some trends that we've seen and data that we're collecting and more data that we need to collect. So that's where our focus is going to be. Our mission and vision have not changed. And who we are, we're still in the Code of Virginia. Again, we're one of only a few, less than 5 official offices on youth left in the state of Virginia per the code. Getting directly into data, our Virginia Juvenile Community Crime Control Act. This program deters juvenile crime and provides alternative to juvenile detention. We did serve those detention alternatives, 57 youth, and through our diversionary program, 63. And as you can see from the graph, as the bars go up, the lines should come down and vice versa. So the diversionary programs are for those lower level issues and crimes, and or just families seeing their children getting a little bit more out of control where they've ended up in the court service unit. Detention alternatives that means that they would be eligible to go to detention, but they are remaining in their parents' homes. One of the things that we're also seeing is that the students are becoming younger. So 5 years ago, we were seeing 15 to 17-year-olds. Now we're seeing 10 to 13-year-olds. We are also seeing more weapons, firearms, and knives among those younger juveniles with those types of crimes. So the diversionary services are something that we see needing to continue. Most of the funds for these programs comes through the Virginia Juvenile Community Crime Control Act, which are state funds, directly into our office. And I'm happy to answer questions as we go along. Going into our family services, we have 8 different programs. We did add a fatherhood program, and we are back at Middle River Regional Jail with both moms and dads. But as you can see historically from this graph, we're doing pretty well. We never stopped during COVID. Most of our programs went to virtual, but we're going back to in-person programming. Our referrals do come from the courts, and they come from social services. Sometimes they come from the schools and pediatricians' offices and other community agencies. We see more parents now being referred to us from CPS, and they don't have their children at that point. So it makes it difficult to actually enact what they're learning in the program. So most of the programs are set up for prevention, but we are seeing this as an intervention now that parents are using to get their children returned to them. So it faces some more challenges for us. And we had a parent testimonial that I would like to share. A mom who had a 13-year-old was in one of our classes. The student was able to, after completing the class, mom completing the class, the student took a break from therapy, and the student actually asked to go back to therapy when they were starting to have some issues in the home again. On the first visit back, the therapist couldn't believe the change in the child. The child, who was physically aggressive and stealing, is now a state-ranked BMX racer. Mom knew that her child needed to be active, kept finding things until that child took to something. So she kept working with him. She says that they still have their ups and downs and back and forth. In academics, it's not his favorite. He's not fond of schoolwork, but mom took him to a planetarium, and now he's talking about going to college and wanting to study astronomy. Mom says that she feels they have a long way to go. There's lots of hormones to get through at 13 years old. But before finding the class, the therapist was actually recommending that the parents put him out of the home into a residential treatment program. Parents knew that that was not it. They found our class, and she sent a letter just thanking for all the support and encouragement and staying in touch with our facilitators. So I wanted to be able to share that with you all. Truancy prevention and intervention programming. This program is Check and Connect, and the Truancy Board is the intervention. So the Check and Connect program was first introduced in 2017 and 2018. Through the pandemic, we were able to monitor some of the kids, even though truancy looked totally different with the schools shut down. Once the schools fully opened up, all the school districts continued to use the program. Referrals come in to us from the school at the 3 to 5 day mark in general. The Truancy Board was introduced as a step when the student is not, and the family is not cooperating with the school itself. The school at that 10 to 15 day mark is required to then go to juvenile court. As an option there, they can go to the Truancy Board instead. So we are diverting the youth from the court action at that point. Those 17 students that we saw in fiscal year 25 that came through the Truancy Board remained out of the court system, continued to attend school, and are doing better. We continue to case manage them. In fiscal year 25, we had 1 GED completion, 4 early graduates, 5 on-time graduates. 35 students increased their attendance in grades and were successfully released from the program. 82 students were carried forward into this school year. And of those 82 students, we're about to release almost half of them to make room for more students coming in. So they, as well, have been successful in increasing their attendance and their grades. They'll still get to see their mentor on a weekly basis because they'll know they're there in the school. So if they feel that they're backsliding or they have some issues, they'll know how to seek out their mentor. So we won't totally lose them, but we'll make room for that weekly connection with some other students. And why do we do truancy prevention and intervention? That was a program that we started when the state began to look at chronically absent students rather than just truancy. Chronically absent is defined as missing 10% or more of the school days. So that includes excused days. So for the A student whose family goes on vacation and that A student might get sick with the flu and still be out, if they've hit that 10%, they are considered chronically absent. Those would not be the type of referrals that we would expect to the Check and Connect program, but it is affecting the way these new things are calculated by the state. So our program is there to help and support the schools. And help them with some of the more difficult cases by giving the students a mentor, aside from just social workers in the schools. Personal responsibility education programs. This is what we used to call teen pregnancy prevention. It's family life education, but it has grown so much more. We also do healthy relationships, social media, internet safety, human trafficking, bullying prevention. We do summer enrichment programs, and we now have the Screenagers docuseries through a grant through Augusta Health. So all of these programs are important to the students, and we help the schools by going through health and PE. It gives the students vital skills necessary for long-term success, reducing risky behaviors, and serving as a crucial preventive measure to minimize consequences of their poor choices, or from them making poor choices, is what we hope for. One of the trends that we're seeing here is we are seeing more students, especially with the human trafficking curriculum, that they are giving us more information about things that are going on in the home and their own lives. So we are seeing a little bit more of disclosure of information, and that's something new. Our staff is all trained well in these areas and in trauma, but it's we're there for a short time. So we're having to involve the school in many of these things and get them to work with us and the student to overcome whatever's happening in the home. Our walk and wheel program, this is our Safe Routes to School and our Healthy Community Action Team. This was started under a grant with VDOT and now is a grant through Virginia Foundation for Healthy Youth. You've heard a lot about it. the traffic garden having opened is one of the things that we do. The Safe Routes to School mission is to encourage and enable youth to walk or bike to school and other neighborhood destinations. So what the numbers you see on here is actually the kids that have received bicycle safety, pedestrian safety, and in Waynesboro, it's also the Walk to School Week. In Waynesboro, we also do some mini days where kids get to bike to school or walk to school, depending on the elementary school. And we started in 2024-25, we started the Badger Bike Club at Cape Collins, which is utilizing the trails up at Sunset Park. I believe there's 20 to 40 students partaking in that program right now. And our coordinator for that program didn't give a story particular about any student, but just his own joy of a student's first ride. So we start many students out on balance bikes, and that is a bike without pedals. Help them to grow their confidence. We help them to propel, pushing forward, learning that balance. Then we put them on a bike and teach them how to start pedaling and moving. Once they make that comfortable transition and they get over that next hurdle, get the different techniques down of being able to turn and move, our coordinator says it's the best feeling for him in their unfiltered joy. The other thing that makes it special is the peers. The peers react, and he's seen all these elementary school students come around their peers and support the ones that can't ride and who will learn to ride. And this summer we had 27 students with the YMCA learn to ride bikes. And we're riding the Greenway by the time we were done this summer. So that was very exciting. Community in Motion. This was the program that was kind of born out of COVID. Community agencies, the YMCA and Augusta Health, brought community agencies together and the schools and said, what can we do? And how can we help our community as we're coming out of the pandemic? The school system donated the bus that you can see there. And the library took a big part of this, and we now have library books on that bus. We visit 6 to 10 neighborhoods in the area every other week. Currently, the bus is out of commission, but it's being fixed. So we will be back into the communities with the library, but also we bring resources. So we have Wi-Fi on the bus. We can help parents fill out things for social services, for the schools, preschool, help them navigate all of these types of other community resources. We also, you can see there, we do some food supplies, clothing, hygiene items that they can come and get on the bus. So we are still bringing these and doing outreach in the community. We are expanding the outreach beyond the bus to other community events that we started this summer. Movies, we did a game night downtown, and we'll be continuing some of these other things as we move forward. Our other areas of community involvement are listed here. This is just some of the other agencies, nonprofits that we work with beyond the schools and the courts. The Office on Youth functions as a community resource, partnering deeply with the other agencies, the courts, the schools, mental health, the health department, to effectively help families navigate all of the complex systems that are there. And how do we do this? I took the director's position 10 years ago, so our report reflects over the 10 years that I've been doing this. 10 years ago, we were lopsided compared to where we are now as far as grants go. Grants made up almost 75% of the programming. This did not allow for sustainability of many programs, and we lost programs and staff. We are now at 70% of locality investment, making us a much more stable agency and allowing programs to continue. As you can see, Stanton, Waynesboro, and Augusta County are the bulk of the investment in our programs. And then As far as the expenses go, 20% goes to program expenses, 80% is salary and benefits, but of that 80%, 70% goes directly to the paid staff, the ones that are on the ground doing the mentoring, hands-on with the kids, doing the bikes, doing the outreach in the community, planning all the activities, and working directly with families. And our data shows that for $122 of taxpayer money, the OOY provides one participant with life-changing intervention and support. And for every tax dollar that's entrusted to us, we leverage an additional 42 cents in external grants and funding, which maximizes the investment of the localities. And to give it to you in another way, here's some other costs. And for example, our truancy prevention program costs a fraction of the court and academic expenses associated with chronic non-attendance, which saves the community in potential long-term costs. So when those students keep moving through the system or making risky decisions, then they end up possibly in some of these other programs, which are much more costive and reactive than our prevention programs. So why our office? We're unique. We are local government. We are a bridge to nonprofit and other community agencies. We have a staff with a range of knowledge and resources ready to assist. We keep our staff trained and cross-trained across all programs, so whenever somebody calls our office, everybody should be able to answer a question, no matter what the program is. And for the cost of placing one youth in detention for just 1 week, we can provide a full year of preventive services to over 20 youth. So again, we try to maximize the money that we receive. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Jenny. I want to say that I've had the opportunity on several occasions to sit down with Jenny and her staff, and I can see the support, the care that you exhibit and your staff exhibit in trying to do these proactive programs to save our youth from what could be dire consequences. So on behalf of council, I thank you, and we'll continue to support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Item 9 is to consider introducing an appropriation ordinance appropriating $5,675,774. Mr. McCormick.
Thank you, Mayor Lee, and good evening, members of the council. This item is intended to introduce an amendment to the fiscal year 2026 budget in the amount of $5,675,774. The primary components of this are the encumbrance roll forward from fiscal year 2025 to 2026. Those are items that were in the city manager's budget during 2025, but for whatever reason, whether it be the procurement didn't get wrapped up, or that the work couldn't be scheduled, those items were on contract at the end of the year, but the work for those items had not been completed. And some of those items have been completed to date, for example, the paving and the micro-surfacing. So most of this is comprised of $1.5 million in paving and micro-surfacing, $215,000 of remaining services on the comprehensive plan update, $140,000 to upgrade the city's timekeeping system, all of those are in the general fund, and then also $697,000 of remaining work on an MS7 project in the sewer fund, and then a number of other small purchase orders in general fund, water fund, refuse, sewer, and stormwater fund. The other component to this is miscellaneous other grants, donations, and recoveries, and fund balance usages, and that's $1,541,000. It's mainly comprised of $1,131,000 of school board appropriations, which is broken into $540,000 of grants and $591,000 of fund balance usage for insurance reserves, for usage to buy some premiums down and site acquisition. couple of procedural items on this because of the having to wrap the act up before you can hone in on that encumbrance number. We didn't have time to get this advertised for a public hearing for this meeting. This will need a public hearing, so this item will not carry forward to consent agenda at next meeting. It will be on your regular agenda, and we'll have a public hearing coordinated with it. We do have that ad scheduled to run this coming Wednesday. There are 3 items on the grants in the general fund section that, assuming council is okay with it, there's funds in those, there's revenues in those funds. These are fully grant funded to cover these projects, and we're gonna let the purchase orders go, assuming there's no issues with this. There's ATL funds, it's aid to locality funds for the fire board, and the amount of $80,000 to replace a battalion chief vehicle. Again, those are funds that we've received from the fire board that just weren't spent in the prior year, and that we couldn't get it on purchase order before the end of the year. There's a community flood preparedness grant. The grant amount of that is $172,000, and then an interfund transfer from that position that we currently have for $19,000. Again, grant portion of that's $172,000, and there's no new revenues in that. It's $19,000 from that position that was planned in the previous year. And then $25,000 for Public Works, and the DEM staff have requested that they have a dam safety certificate done for Jones Hollow, and again, that's fully grant funded from the DAM Safety Grant Fund. If you have any questions, either procedurally or on content, I'd be happy to answer them now. If not, you can introduce and second this evening, and then it'll come to you again on your December 8th meeting.
Is there a motion to introduce the ordinance appropriating the $5,675,774? Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Slow. This ordinance will be subject of a public hearing and receive final consideration at the December 8th regular business meeting. Item 10 is to consider an appointment to the Parks and Recreation Commission. Is there a motion to appoint Ms. Donna Ownby to a 4-year term expiring August 31st, 2029?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Slow. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it 3-0. Item 11, communication, correspondence, and calendar. Mr. Hamp?
I don't have anything this evening, sir.
Thank you, sir. Item 12, citizen comment.
Mr. Jeff Fife.
Mayor Lee, members of council, thank you for the opportunity to address you guys. I am the chairman of the Regional Office on Youth. Appreciate Jenny and her presentation. We got the full dose version of that at our commission meetings, and we encourage everyone to come to attend. They are public in nature. We meet bi-monthly. There is public comment. We encourage everyone to come on out and share their thoughts, stories, ideas. And we're also looking for champions. We've got some vacancies on the Waynesboro side. We have 5 members of the Stanton community, 5 members of the Augusta County community, 5 members of the Waynesboro community, plus youth representation that represents each 3 of the localities that the Regional Office on Youth serves. Waynesboro has openings right now, so this is more to the joys of the YouTube TV people. Come on down. We'd love to have you join us. Those meetings are highly informative. We're meeting bi-monthly. Just this year, we had presentations from CSA, which is Comprehensive Services Act, which oversees and works with the Family Assessment and Planning team, and you're getting to hear some of the issues related to what our families are dealing with. We had Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney from one of the localities come to speak to us, and it's a sad state of affairs when you're dealing with a Regional Youth Commission, and a Commonwealth's Attorney is someone that has a lot of impact and say on what's going on with our young people, but it's important for us to get that information. The recovery school, I always call it the River Ridge, I call it the recovery school. The administrator of that came and spoke to us as well, very proud of what's happening, of those 3 localities partnering together and how it's serving those folks. One item that always comes up on our agenda is vacancies. Vacancies not only for our youth, for our commissioners, but vacancies for our employees. As you can imagine, it is tough to keep employees, as all city departments are. We greatly appreciate the support of Waynesboro's locality, making up a big piece of that pie for our revenues. We don't anticipate any significant larger chunk coming in at next year's budget session, but those are critically important. And if you look at the trends that were presented to you guys specific to return on investment trends, one kid going through a prevention type program is $122. Now we've got diversionary programs, which aren't as expensive, but a little bit more than getting someone through the courts. And when you go into the courts, you're dealing with $5,000 to $15,000. If this community can't serve that kid in this community, we have to send them out of this community, we still foot the bill, and it costs us anyone from $35,000 to $70,000. So it's pretty apparent your best ROI is in our prevention programming. So we appreciate the support of this government, of this locality, supporting the Office on Youth to the tune that it does. And if there's a larger increase, which won't be of anything of significance, but if something else comes in, we'd appreciate that support as well. And if there's anybody out there on YouTube TV that wants to get involved, we need volunteers, we need champions, we need folks to come out, because there's a lot of work to be done. And as you can see, $122 on a prevention program versus $15,000 take a kid to the courts, or $70,000 where you can't serve them. If you want to make a difference in our community, just on a financial standpoint, get involved in prevention. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for the works, for the staff, for the Office on Youth, and all the great things that they do.
Thank you, Mr. Pike.
That's it.
All right, item 13, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Thank you, Mr. Slow. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We adjourn. Have a good evening, everyone.